Uh, Hi everyone. Today we have with us Sonia Sebastin. So this, the aim of this recording is basically to help students or job seekers out there to know how a individual or a professional has traveled from a point of starting in a educational mode, like like doing their study and traveling up to successfully getting into their core field, right? That's something like I look up to it. I get inspired by looking at such things. So to introduce Sonia, who has joined us today, I should be thankful to Sonia. Sonia, thank you for joining in. It's really appreciable because I do converse with many of the batchmates with whom I studied, and out of them, one of them was has agreed to come and share their journey, right?
Yeah.
For some reason, some people are not very open, but I really appreciate. So Sonia, as I can introduce, is someone as I know from my year of study, that is 22-23. She was someone from the civil engineering background. As I knew her, she worked for like few years back in India in the civil engineering field. She used to come to class, but not most often. That could be, but the best part was she was very meritorious. Her scores were good, her assignments were perfect, and that's something which I always consider as like a killer feature, or like you can say like a attribute in her. So yes, Sonia, so the point of this conversation, as it did share with you before also, is that how can a student who has come in recently or already is finished the study, they're just getting into the job scenario, right, the work permit period, and they're facing the challenges of getting into the core field. People from maybe the same domain as you, civil engineers. I know friends who are in the civil engineering background who did a course here, and then they are yet to get into that track. And also any other domain, let it be healthcare, or let it be nursing or marketing. So that's like a kind of a one milestone, I would say. So wanted to learn from you, like step one was basically coming to study.
Yeah.
And then from the study itself, what was like your what you did, like as a preparation from onwards. And also please do because viewers might not know that, what was your study like, what was your first course or the second course, and how did
Yeah.
you plan it out? So over to you, please.
Okay. So I came to Canada in 2022, right? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I chose project management. Back in India, I did my bachelor's in civil engineering, and here I completed my post-graduation in project management. Prior to that, I had about 3 to 4 years of experience as a civil engineer. Uh, so, uh, so as soon as we finished our course, like when we were having our final exams, I prepared my resume and I started applying for jobs even before our final exams. So that was one thing. I didn't wait for our course to get over and then start applying for jobs and then think on what to do next. So I think that is one thing that I worked on. I worked on my resume. I had it perfect. I had my LinkedIn all prepared and just ready to go. So LinkedIn and Indeed, these two, I would just like how we use our Instagram and Facebook, I used my LinkedIn and my Indeed. I would just go on there when I was working part time during that time. Whenever I had free time, I would just open up Indeed, apply for all kind of because I was sure I wanted to work in construction, anything, and I wanted to get into the management part because I know it's a little bit difficult for us to get into the technical side of civil engineering here because everything is different, right? So, and then of course we did our course in project management, so I thought it would be a great idea to go into the management aspect of construction. And so any kind of project administrator, project construction, and like all the different keywords that I saw in construction industry, I would just apply for all the jobs. All the
Okay.
jobs I would
So,
apply to.
So just I'm trying to, as a person who traveled it, you are telling the key aspects. Like I want people to know the nuances, like which is like you made a point, 2 points which was very interesting. One is about preparing a resume when you are just getting out of your college and you're ready. So I see a lot of people out there guiding job seekers or students on resume writing, and there are people who are charging a bomb for even getting that written. I don't know how far it helps, but yes, and there are AI tools and stuff which has come and they are taking over the way resume is written. So how did you do it? Did you take some guidance from civil engineering professionals, or what was your? These are like tactics,
Yeah, I
so
know. So we are looking at professional what jobs, right? So I knew that we just the basics of resumes, like nothing too catchy, nothing too flashy, and just correct formats. Like if you just Google, you will find a ton of resumes and a ton of keywords on what to use on your resume. That's just all you need to create a resume. And who knows you better than you? Like you should be the one preparing your resume, and just because wherever we work, we knew all our jobs and responsibilities. We just had to write it down. Just now we can just use ChatGPT. Just tell it, write this thing in a professional way, and it just writes it down for you. And then there's this PDF that you get Harvard keywords or something that you can use on your resume. Like
oh,
it
interesting.
should be, yeah. So the starting, like these instead of, like, they give you suggestions. Instead of this phrase, you use this phrase. Like so instead of assisted, you use something else. There are a ton of things that you can find online and use that to just uh, make your own resume.
Nice. I what I like best part of this is your statement that who knows you better than yourself, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's like a killer statement, and I really like it. Why is because uh, there are people out in LinkedIn calling themselves as resume writers. There's people out there in market saying that they're resume writers, and they know the situation where there are people who are like desperate for jobs, right?
Yeah.
And they will do anything for it. Like I'm ready to tell me maybe I'm missing this, and these people are like, yeah, your resume is not good. This is not here. That is not there. So that the way you put it, look for keywords. You made it look so simple, and but it
Yeah.
is a very you made it look simple, but I'm looking at it in a way that there's a lot of research to
Yeah.
arrive at that, right?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
made it, making it sound simple, but this is about knowing yourself well. It is about knowing your profession well.
Yeah.
You would have spent a lot of time researching the keywords. You would have spent a lot of time knowing what is critical in a job in Canada, in the civil engineering, in the management side. So that's amazing, which you share. You made it. I don't want people to think it's so simple. Oh, it's just that. No.
No.
Another thing is like you put a very interesting say that you are using LinkedIn and Indeed like Insta and Facebook.
Yeah.
Like best part. That's like I believe in that too. I use LinkedIn more of that kind because connecting and all. But
Yeah.
for you, how did LinkedIn work? Like you said, like you were active on LinkedIn. So were you like only on the job side or that networking side? Like just give an idea of that, right? Because
Yeah.
Indeed, I don't know what specifically you would have done. Like you said, you applied a lot of jobs which are
Yeah.
management centric. So I think that was what you did.
Mhm.
But LinkedIn, what was it like? Your
So basically, more than LinkedIn, I would say what helped me more was Indeed, because I
okay,
applied to a lot of jobs. I know in Canada networking is very important, but to be honest, I have not explored that side.
okay.
Like because as soon as I came, I was applying for different jobs. I was getting interviews.
Mhm.
So I didn't have the need to go and like for networking and then searching for jobs. I know networking is important, but I have not explored that. Like, honestly, what is this? Recruiters reach out to me, so sometimes I try to connect with those kind of people. Like if I see they're recruiter or something, I connect with them.
Yeah. So, Sonia, like, while you did share a bit about the keyword part of the resumes.
Yeah.
Like, is there any other element which worked? Because they talk about the 8 years thing. So you said about the Harvard University keywords. You said about the industry specific keywords. So yeah, if
Yeah.
anything else which could help.
Okay, so in Canada, you always hear one more thing: use a one-page resume. I don't agree with this. If you have more experience, put you can go 2 pages. It's fine. Like, because if you have the experience, if you have the skills, put it on there. Because the recruiters or the HR people, they won't get to know you, or they sometimes won't even go to your LinkedIn profile to see where all you've worked, what all skills you have. So you need to have a section for highlights and achievements, what all you've done. If you're in civil, you can put down what all type of constructions you've worked on, what all different construction projects that you worked on, what is the net value of that project, so that when they see that, they'll know, oh, she has experience in ICI construction, she has experience in retrofit, blah. So it just gives them more idea about us. Those two
Okay.
pages are
Yeah.
what makes them call you for a interview. So
Right.
go and use those 2 sheets if you
Yeah.
can't fit everything in one page.
Okay, one thing here is that when you talked about experience, so this is an interesting part. Most of the job, students, we come from our home countries and we are trying
Yeah.
to study here, right? So we might have an experience of 3 to 8 years, or 3 to 4 years. How many years? Even less than 3 years. So that's like specific to India, right? And especially my understanding is limited on the civil engineering side, but as far as I've heard from other people who have tried entering that field, and you also said, like, it is difficult to get into the operational side, but management side is what is the entry point. So how do you showcase that Indian work experience, and that does it get value for your Canadian job search?
Uh,
Like, how does
I,
it?
I think definitely it has value here. Uh, if you think, okay, if you're applying for a project management position or project coordinator position, just think of the duties that you would have done as a civil engineer, but that is what is relevant to this position that you're applying to, and have it on your resume. I think
Mhm.
it does build in, like, they're looking for what kind of value that you bring into this role. So if that's something that you've already done in your previous workplace, I think it definitely should be there on your resume. No matter where in the world that you worked, it should be
Mhm.
there on the resume.
Interesting. Well, coming from the resumes part, I was just thinking in the back of my mind that, see, you said in one point that you used to continuously apply jobs on Indeed,
Yeah.
right? And what was the ratio of, like, interviews, or not just interviews, like even selection, the first round of selection? How many applications led to how many shortlist kind? Because people sometimes they'll just do a couple of applications and they'll leave. So what, they should be prepared for something, right? So what was
Yeah.
it like?
So how much ever experience that you have, don't limit the number of jobs that you applied to. I would say just apply to all kind of jobs, all kind of relevant jobs. Just keep applying, and because a lot we'll be getting a lot of rejections. If you, I feel like at the beginning you apply for 100 jobs, maybe five jobs we'll get a call back, or we'll get
Right.
an email from them. The
Right.
rest all, it's going to be rejections. But
Right.
don't, I personally, when I was getting all these rejections, I went so low. But then I got my first job. Like, the HR kept calling me for a week because they wanted to schedule an interview with me. And I was
Wow.
not picking up the call because I was like so down. And she kept calling me. She left a voicemail. She left a text message. So if it's meant to happen, it will happen. I feel like
Nice.
because they felt that I could bring in some value to that role, right? That's why I feel
Right.
like they would have continuously reached out to me. So
Okay. Did
Yeah.
you see something like, see, this is really inspiring, this is everybody's dream,
Yeah.
to get a follow-up call from an HR. So was it like anything like specifically you changed it, customized for that particular thing which worked, or
No,
what do you think was the reason for that, that they
because
found you?
I'm not, even I don't know why, but maybe it was my resume that stood out from all the other applicants. Because
Okay.
that's the only thing that they know about me, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm telling, like, your resume is your that's the portfolio that you have to bring in all what you are going to bring to that organization in those, like, if it is 2 pages, go for it. Fill it with
Correct.
all the qualification, all the skills, all the experiences, everything that you have, because that's the only 2 sheets that they're judging you on. If they need you, they will come to you.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense. So we have traveled through the job prep, like where you from the college point, after graduation, the resume preparation, your habit of Indeed, being active on
Yeah.
LinkedIn and Indeed, and also getting the resume prepped well with keywords, and and the number of application ratio, like apply
Yeah.
as many as possible. So we have come there, and now it's like about what was your interview prep like? You all, maybe there is one. How many rounds did you have? Did you have like one is like how was it like,
Yeah,
two
so for
rounds or
my
three rounds?
first, yeah, so for my first job, it was 2 rounds. One, I had a virtual interview, and
Okay.
then uh, in an hour after the interview, I got a call back from the HR telling me to come into the office. And then
Oh,
I went into the office, like, I scheduled my in-person interview, and by the end of the interview, I had my offer letter in hand. I walked out
wow.
of the interview with my offer letter and my first job in Canada.
Awesome. That's anybody's dream.
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. So, um, did you have any kind of a prep for your interview? Did
Yeah.
you make any, like,
So,
what was it like?
what, like, my prep, I would say, I go to their website. I look at all the projects that they've done. I make a thorough research about what they are, what they do, and all the projects, like for civil engineering, like for construction, it is like all the projects, where they're located, all the different kind of works that they do. So, and then just try to relate it to what uh, you have done before, and match it to the job description that they posted on Indeed or LinkedIn or whatever. This job that I got was through Indeed, so I would just open up the jobs and responsibilities page on that Indeed, and I would try to relate it to my resume. And then
Okay.
I connected and I used those. And then whenever you're explaining something, if you have the experience and you have the knowledge, I think that will pass, like, that will be delivered over there. It's just when they ask you anything, just try to relate it to the experience that we have.
Got it.
That, yeah,
Interesting. Interesting. So, you basically, uh, you had a kind of a, you hold experience in this field, but there is a kind of excuse me, keywords which is part of the job description. So your narration of how what is your work experience
exactly.
like, so you have made it relatable to them, right? So
Yeah.
that's very interesting. um, were there any questions which were like non-technical, which came like surprising
So,
to you, or?
so basically, what I understand is for this project coordinator role, it's not going to be all technical. They just want to know you and whether you are good at organization, at coordination, if you're able to communicate things properly. So there's not going to be anything like what is cement, what is steel, nothing like that. It's
Right.
just, yeah, they're just trying to, there's, it is all non-technical, and those kind, only those kind of questions they ask you.
So when I
So,
mean non-technical, I'm sorry, like I'm just trying to rephrase myself, because I come across questions sometimes, is like, what are your weaknesses, or
mhm.
what is your achievement in the last job, what is that something which you don't like in a workplace, which are like,
Yeah.
they come out of nowhere, like I'm not prepared at times, right? So did you have anything like that, or was it like more like, do you know to do Excel,
Uh,
do you know to do reports?
so for my first interview, it was for my first job, it was just what I've done before. It was more based on my experience. They didn't ask any other questions like my weaknesses or strengths. But I know in interviews they do ask that. So just make one of your strengths your weaknesses, like portray it very well. There are good ways to portray your weaknesses. Maybe talk about your perfection rate or your dedication rate. Just try to impress them. Don't give them
Okay.
anything like
Got it.
negative
Nice.
about
That's a
yourself.
good point. Yeah. I do believe in that same. So, well, this is like kind of gives a whole idea of your journey, right? And
Yeah,
this is. I know it sounds so simple. It sounds so easy, but it isn't. It is not. The efforts which you would have put and the kind of dedication which you would have done things, even the most smallest things, is what it matters. I believe the way I
yeah,
see it, the amount of dedication you would have put in the resume writing, the amount of dedication you would have put in keyword research, or even the job application and preparing for the interviews.
yeah.
But the way you make it sound is like it just
Simple.
happened, it just happened, it just happened. No, I don't want people to perceive it that way, right? So how now? Just if we look at people who are currently there, the situation has got a little more challenging with the job scarcity because of the lot of people are out there, talents is out there, the number of jobs is reduced a bit because of the economical impact, right?
Yeah.
uh, like what would you say to somebody like who's in that situation right now, and their dream is to just get into their core domain, it can be civil, it can be anything else. Uh, what would work for them, like
Yeah.
if you would want to share something of your thoughts?
I would say work on your resume, make it better, make it show your self-worth on there, and then prepare well for the interview. Go well dressed, be confident. We
Mm-hmm.
Any questions they shoot at you, if you don't know, just take a minute and then respond to them. Uh, because it doesn't matter if you take a minute to slow down and think, but just be confident in what you respond to them. Just because they only have that 5 minutes or 10 minutes of that interview to analyze you. So,
Right.
and uh, just keep looking for jobs. Just don't get demotivated, because there are I feel there are opportunities out there, because uh, I tried to change my jobs. I applied to a lot of jobs, and I did do interviews now and then, and at the same time I got three jobs, three
Oh,
offer letters, and then I had I could choose from them, and I chose.
wow.
I moved to another job with 30% increase in my salary and all
Interesting.
benefits. So I don't think there are opportunities. Maybe like just the first foot in the door. That's maybe difficult, but just keep looking. Just work on yourself. Work on your interview skills. Work on your
Right.
resume, and then maybe do some networking. I'm not sure about that aspect, but still, yeah,
Okay. Okay. This is amazing, Sonia. Like, um, even the point where you said right now about like getting three offers in hand in market, it basically makes it look like, oh, it contradicts the point that there is no
yeah,
opportunity out there. It rather uh, makes me realize that it is more about like the way you are uh, targeting it and the way you are chasing it, the method
yeah,
you are applying to get that, like a strategy,
yeah,
right? So this is like highly valuable points, which should hopefully help anyone who's listening. So I take away the from the final points which you said, I say like to not to stay get demotivated is something which I
hmm,
say, like keep persistently trying, never
yeah,
give up, and keep preparing yourself every day. Like you mentioned about the resume part, the job search part. So that's like the right, I would say that's the right mindset in which
Yeah.
things might happen. You might end up manifesting it, right? What you desire for.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Sonia. I really appreciate this gesture of yours.
Yeah.
I there are some people think that there should not be some people should not feel complex or jealous or negative. Or I would rather say there would be a lot of positive vibes towards you from people who are in that situation where they want to get into that right space, but they need that kind of that energy or guidance. I hope this conversation gives them that, and that comes back to you as more positive energy, right? Thanks a lot. Will anyway, if anybody else comes up with any questions to me, like inquiring more about it, then I would request you to join again. Hopefully, sometime where we speak more about the civil engineering part, if they have questions on it. Right? How did you succeed so far?
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.